Well, hello and welcome to our video vodcast. And my name is Brad. I am on staff here at New Hope Christian Church, and I am the teaching pastor. And this is Justin. Justin is our creative arts, communication, all kinds of stuff. And our goal for these videos is to really say, hey, we had a great time Sunday, but what would it look like if we went a little bit deeper during the week and talked about maybe some things that didn't get to fit into the sermon, maybe some things that like came out of the sermon, or maybe even just some random stuff. And so I'm glad Justin's hanging out with us. We're gonna have some different guests over the next couple of weeks, but we'll see what's going on. How you doing? You doing all right?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I do good. Keep going. Where does that come from? I saw on your shirt there.
This is, I don't even know.
You don't know?
Just loved it.
Did you buy it or did someone else buy it for you?
I bought it.
Oh, you did?
Did.
All right. Do you buy all your own clothes?
Ish.
Yeah, I don't really buy my own clothes. So if you don't like my clothes, it's not my fault. So I know that like the series is the parables from Luke, right?
Correct.
And so kind of I just is an off the cuff kind of statement here, but like why did you choose the graphic you chose with like the boxes of the pictures and stuff? Because if you don't know, Justin does our graphics and communication stuff, but why that?
You know, it's one of those things where I want to follow suit with whoever's teaching that week. I want to make sure that the tone and the messaging matches or helps tell a story visually.
Yeah.
You know, with where you or Stephen is going to take the messaging and support it in that way. So obviously, God used parables and stories to do so. And so one of the things that with the picture frames that you see in the graphic, it highlights a couple of each one of those stories.
Yeah.
Really showcases those. And from a feel perspective, just want to make sure it feels warm.
Yeah, I like
there's
the
some
color.
there's some depth to it.
Does that
because the
color
stories
have
are
a
the
go ahead.
stories are rich. You know,
Yeah, they are.
in both meaning and reality.
Yeah.
You know, it as God reveals Himself to us through those stories, as they're told. You know, there's a
Yeah.
richness there, and so there's a depth and there's a texture.
Yeah.
There's emotion to it, and I think that comes through in those layers that are there. And so,
What color
yeah.
green is that?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know the number color? Like the
Oh, no.
E74? No? You don't know that stuff? I don't either. Okay. So I have some questions for you because I'm curious. I mean, you know, kind of as someone who communicates quite a bit, maybe not necessarily in this format, but
Sure.
like just out there. What's a story, movie, book, commercial? What's something that like that affected you maybe more than a lecture ever did? Do you remember like an experience or a meme? We were talking about that earlier, or a meme for people who are maybe older than us. But is there something like, you know, like a lecture? Like the lecture does great, right? There's times, but like there's sometimes like a commercial, a story, or something like that, just like slaps you.
Sure.
Do you remember anything like that? Can you remember?
I respond a lot more to visuals than I think I do either long form or short form type stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that comes to mind is a meme. It's you may have seen it. It says, "This is fine."
Oh
It's,
yeah,
it's the dog at a table with coffee. Yeah, coffee. It's like, and there's just flames engulfing the
all
whole
around
room.
them.
And
Yeah,
I think it just encapsulates that like feeling of the inability sometimes to be able to control even some small things, but big things that are going on in your life, the weights of the world and
yeah,
realities of life. You know, it's like all this is going on, and she's just trying to have to sort of smile through it sometimes and be like, this is fine. I'm here. I'm okay. That's one for me. I think that when it comes to communicating more than a story can, this is fine. I'm okay. I'm here. I'm right where I need to be.
yeah.
And so
Do you ever
for me.
cry at commercials?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got 2 girls, and so high empathy person. So like as I get older and see them growing up quicker than I can keep up with, it's one of those things where I feel it.
Yeah. You know, it's
And I
crazy.
cry. I just cry.
Super Bowl's
cry
coming
more.
up, which
Yeah.
is like one of the biggest like ad production times. And those people spend, millions of dollars, and they have a very short period of time. And most of them don't just put forth like a diatribe on screen. It's usually telling a story, right? But yeah. And so and you worked in that industry, right, for a while.
I did. I worked as an art director, graphic designer, and advertising for a few years.
So I mean, like when we talk about like Jesus using stories, that's not a specifically biblical thing, right? I mean, that's like a cultural, like the world does that, right?
Sure.
I mean, you did that even in this when you worked not in the church, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jesus has the best story, obviously.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I think when we think about the story that we're writing each day, it's knowing who we are in light of who God's called us to be. I
Right.
think that's,
Yeah.
we're called to do.
So like I think for me, like the thing I love about the parables is that Jesus knows his audience and his people so well that instead of like confronting them with these hard truths, right? Like he came at them sideways. And that's what I was talking about this Sunday was that at a table like this, truth comes out sideways. And what I mean by that is not that it comes out wrong, but it has like right now we're ear to ear kind of as opposed to me standing up and yelling at you. Have you experienced that? Like, can you remember times in your life where like you had to recognize hard truths at like tables or like circles or in like a small setting?
I think so. I think tables for me have been a safe place.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can recall anything that's like, obviously there's some hard truths where you can have real conversations because you're real people at a table. I think too, our family does Sunday night dinner every night or every Sunday. It's designates the beginning of our week. We try not to miss. If we miss, it's
so not
we miss
not
it.
just your wife and your kids, but like a bigger group, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's a shared meal where we can talk about life.
Do you guys actually sit down somewhere
Oh, yeah.
together? Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So you're not like sitting in like separate rooms watching TV.
Oh, we do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. If Jesus was teaching today, like, so we know he uses parables and we're going to walk through this parable. So we're excited about that. But if Jesus was teaching today, what format do you think he would use to like disseminate or talk about his stories?
I think we joked about this earlier, but
Yeah.
maybe some table flipping.
Yeah.
I know that's I joke about that, but I think it's different. The Holy Spirit speaks to each of us in different ways. I know that a lot of times he speaks to me in whispers. I'm trying to hear a loud voice. A lot of times I just need to quiet myself and listen and hear the whispers. I think that's not always true, but it's having an ear and heart open to what it is that.
Do you think he would use like Instagram Reels?
I don't think anything's off limits. I think that's
Yeah,
true. I think it's
right.
genuinely true. I think it's a tool.
Like he wouldn't
share
care. He'd use
truth, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
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 It'd be interesting to see. What are you, is there a parable that you're looking forward to us like talking about?
I'm excited to hear all of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was looking earlier at Luke, and coming out of the most important commandment is you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's Luke 10:27, and following that comes the parable of the Good Samaritan, and then following that it's the Mary and Martha. I think that one of the things that is exciting about that is that I love how simple that one is. And it's the greatest. It says it's most important, greatest commandment. It's love to God, love your neighbor.
Mhm.
And I think we sometimes can get caught into too much other things where Mary and Martha sitting with Jesus, sitting at his feet, not getting distracted by any number of the things that are fighting for our attention, for evil trying to like steal our attention or distract us away from God showing us who he is, and sitting with Jesus I think is important. And so I love that block there between 10 and Luke 10. All the parables are great, but I think that those in particular really stand out to me.
Cool. So someone comes to you and they're like, hey, that parable frustrated me, or that parable was hard for me to process. And I think our goal for this series is to really ask people to say, like, who are you in the parable, right? Like, instead of being defensive and saying, no, but like to really kind of sit with it. What if someone came to you and said, how do I do that? Like, how do you do that? Like when you're reading a parable, how do you process it for yourself?
I sometimes have to catch myself. I'll often find myself trying to figure out like, where am I in the story? I think that's important as a bearing for understanding the context. who's involved, but also God revealing himself. Like, as much as I have to remember to remove myself as the sort of main character or hero in this story. It's like it's not about me. It's about who God is in this parable as well. Like, what is he revealing about his character
Right.
as well? So as much as, and I think that helps clarify who we are and how we should see ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. It's tough to sort of take some humility to remove ourselves from the center of that story. We can easily put ourselves there. And
Yeah.
I think there's things to be learned there too. But I think understanding ultimately it's Jesus trying to reveal himself, or God, showing himself, and allowing the Holy Spirit to speak into that.
Yeah.
And as we do further reading and in those stories.
Yeah, I read somewhere it said we have to, instead of trying to master the parables, we have to let the parables master us. And at first I was like, I don't understand if I quite get that. But then I started thinking through it and I was like, okay, like we have a tendency to want to be able to explain the parables so much that we can kind of change that narrative to fit whatever we want it to fit, as opposed to just sitting with truth sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we like the table idea, right? Because like you linger at a table, you know what I'm talking about? Like you just kind of, like we had dinner with my sister and my other part, like my whole extended family, not my whole, but just like my brother and his kids and that kind of stuff. And after we ate, we sat there for a long time and we just kind of just lingered. It was just like this conversation that just kept going, and eventually we had to call it quits. But I think that like when we do Bible studies where we just say, okay, I guaranteed that I was going to spend 15 minutes a day with Jesus, I think that we don't really just kind of sit with God as often as we probably should. Like you were talking about earlier, the quiet voice. I mean, why does Elijah hear that quiet voice? But he has to sit through a hurricane, a volcano, all these things, right? He has to sit through those things until he finally hears the quiet whisper. So it took some time, right? And I think that as Christians, we're such in a hurry sometimes. So I know we talked about creating margin, that kind of stuff. So how do you, as like a creative thinker, how do you balance the desire to make things clear with trusting God that this feeling you feel is genuine?
I think I have to start with prayer, in the same ways that he reveals himself to us through these stories, is to ask him to give us some clear direction as to what does our church need to hear, what does our church need to see, and center it back on who he is. I think that's what's really cool about, we have some agency here. God's got us uniquely here at 3300 Kirby Whitten Parkway. He has for over 125 years, and so it's great to have the opportunity to help continue that story and still pointing back to him. Like, by God's grace, we're still here. You know, and I think that's maintaining that perspective is important.
Is it hard to just have faith sometimes, or do you need like a clear understanding of things? Like, where do you walk that line? Because I struggle with that sometimes, right? Like my wife is like, yeah, I just have faith, right? She's like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, no, it matters. Like I have to ask 4,000 questions. Yeah. Do you find yourself the same way? Or do you find yourself being like, okay, I just kind of trust that like I can hear this truth and it can affect me without having to like break down all of the things around it.
Yeah.
Where do you fall in that?
It's tough. It's different seasons of life. I think it's even if faith, understanding that life is not always going to be easy.
Yeah.
Every decision we make, hopefully, it's in light of a response. But sometimes we just have to take that, whatever that next small step is, to trust.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a Sunday, but like the idea that Jesus even says it in Luke 8:10, right? Like it sounds like he's obscuring the truth from people, like he's keeping the truth from people. But the reality of it is he's kind of saying you need to want it, like you need to seek it and search for it. And so I think sometimes when I don't know, I think we live in a society that is, we shortcut intimacy, right? Like we want things as quick as possible. We want to know things as fast as possible. We want our food to come as fast as possible. We don't like commercials. We want to fast forward. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I think that what Jesus was saying with the parables is like, hey, you guys, you're just my disciples. like I can speak to you plainly because you're already here, but there's other people that need to kind of search and seek. And so when he talks about this obscuring the gospel, I think he's kind of saying, hey, it's good to work at things, right? I mean, like you've had things in your life that you had to work at, right? And that you felt so much better about them afterwards, right?
Yeah.
You remember anything? Does anything come to mind? Like anything you like worked at, like even when you were younger?
I'm a good bowler.
Bowler, really, for real?
Yeah.
Did you ever bowl like a perfect game?
No, 290, but
That's
you know,
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't. I think my average was like 120 when I bowled in the league. Yeah. So
but it's one of those things that trying to hone that craft and show up,
yeah,
failing upwards, I guess,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
keeping the faith.
yeah. But it makes it better, right? Once you accomplish it, right?
Right.
I wonder if sometimes we have it so easy in America that we miss out on some of those grinds, So, well, man, thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I know our goal is to kind of just ask the question, like, what would it look like if we went a little deeper? And so next week, when we're going to talk about like the parable that we preached on Sunday, we're going to kind of dive into that. But this week was more of an introduction to that kind of idea. And so my hope is that people will go, okay, instead of getting defensive, instead of getting all like, oh, I don't like that, or I don't understand that they would, lean in a little bit more, like let the parable linger a little bit, sit with Jesus a little bit longer. So that's our prayer. So
one of the things that we try to do here at New Hope is help other people tell their story. And so
yeah,
I think as we go through this series, one of the things we want to do is invite people to do that. As much as we may feel like our story is insignificant or not worth telling, it is worth telling because it's a part of a bigger story. And so I think we want to invite the church to do that, individuals to do that, families to do that, as a living testimony of the work that God's doing, and how it fits into the bigger story. I think.
Yeah, like even like Sunday, you showed a video of the two families that are leading the financial peace. So much better than some random financial peace video, right? Like it was so cool to like you got a feeling of what that class is going to be like with those guys, So, but like, how do they tell their story? Do they reach out to you? Is there like a email they send? Is there a website they go to? Is there?
Yeah, we've got either on our website or just drop a comment in the video, or we'll reach out.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And
God bless.